Micdup.
Highlights from Lowlifes. Highlights from Lowlifes.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Highlights from Lowlifes. Tonight, we have a special guest, Andrew Destin, who is a reporter for the Associated Press up in the Seattle area, has agreed to join us. I don't think he understands what he has agreed to.
No, not even close. But thanks, guys, for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. We got Robbie and Marty here, and we're going to talk about Andrew's career and some of his uh, visions of what sports is like in the different areas that he's worked in. Um, Andrew went to high school in the San Jose Bay Area, and then went off to college at Penn State. Followed in his father's footsteps there, and went into a discipline that a lot of us dream about doing, and that's sports journalism and sports broadcasting. So he spent time at Penn State, and he worked at let's see, we got the Penn State University Radio, WPSU. You also wrote for the Daily Collegian, and upon graduation, Andrew had the luck of getting a job with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and his initial work was to cover the Pirates and the Penguins, correct?
Well, first covered Penn State football for them, and then the Pirates and Penguins.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then recently, he left the Post-Gazette and took a job on the West Coast here in Seattle, working for the Associated Press, and he gets to cover all different kinds of sports, everything Seattle. We got collegiate, we got professional. He just had to live through the distraught Mariners fans who were hoping that their team could finally make it to the World Series, and it didn't quite happen. So, welcome to the show.
Point of order?
Yes, Marty. What is it?
I don't think we should have him on the show. He's overqualified. He's intelligent.
I know. That's why I said he doesn't know what he's gotten into.
Well, there you go. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is called. Welcome, Andrew. But this is called the downfall. So, welcome.
Yes.
The pleasure is all mine.
Andrew has told us in advance that we can ask any questions we want, and I'm going to start it off with Robbie. I'm sure Robbie will ask something totally inappropriate. Go for it, Rob.
Well, I mean, I don't want to give it all up early, right?
Yeah, we're only 3 minutes in here, guys. We got 57 minutes or something to keep rolling.
I'm actually, I was one of the people that no skin in the game whatsoever, didn't love the team, didn't hate the team, but to me, they were always part of the league, the Seattle Supersonics.
Yep.
And Seattle supported the hell out of that team. And when they moved, I know there's been talk for years about a team coming back to Seattle, which I think would be fantastic. In light of all of these new gambling things and all of that, I mean, does that put any kind of a delay in that possibility of happening in expansion? I mean, where does that all fall? Because I do think Seattle needs a team in the NBA.
First off, to your last point there, 100% Seattle needs an NBA team here, which is not to suggest that the Kraken haven't taken the city by storm. No pun intended for the WNBA team, but no, it truly is just, it's a basketball town. You think about all the different guys who were born and raised here. Even on the UW basketball team right now, Brandon Roy Jr. is on the team. Like, Brandon Roy is from here, and he was a lottery draft pick, played at UW, so.
Right. And Xavier McDaniel has kids everywhere up there.
Perhaps Sean Kemp too.
Yeah.
The true Rain Man. But no, I think that there's no correlation there necessarily in terms of what's happening with Rozier and Billups from a gambling perspective of how that impacts the NBA in terms of expansion. I think the Supersonics 100% are still a team that the NBA would like to see come back in some capacity. Expansion is something the association is very interested in, especially with wanting to expand to places like Las Vegas.
Right.
Now, to your point, Marty, I don't know if going to Las Vegas is necessarily as much in play now, given what's going on. That might be the market that you have a little bit of apprehension because,
Yeah.
as I wear my Oakland Ballers hat,
Yeah.
that's very intentional. Um, it's worked great with the Vegas Golden Knights, to a lesser
Yeah.
extent with the Raiders there. So I know we're deviating from the topic of Seattle and kind of straying towards Las Vegas now, but yeah, I do genuinely think that the this gambling stuff is going to impact the NBA. Now, in terms of a timeline for Seattle, maybe delays it a year or two, but frankly, we've been talking about delays for 17 years. It's going to
Right.
happen.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when, which is the
Yeah.
cliche answer, but the true answer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And we'll talk.
All
We'll
right.
talk about Vegas later. I have some thoughts about
Thank
Vegas
you.
sports.
I
But
mean,
go ahead.
quick follow up to all that leading into the gambling scandal. All these leagues are sponsored by DraftKings now.
Yeah.
There seems to be a real disconnect where you can't gamble and get in the Hall of Fame. You can't do this, do that. They bust these guys for playing in a poker game, and then here we are. DraftKings is advertising in the middle of the games. They've got signs up in the arenas and stadiums. I mean, is there a breaking point there? I mean, it seems like it's a real do as I say, not as I do kind of thing.
It really is. They want their cake and to eat it too. When it comes down to this, I mean, it really is just a matter of you look at what's happening with the NBA, or you look what's happening with MLB. It's all these different leagues. I remember from covering the Pirates last year, like Tucapita Marcano, if you guys remember that whole scandal where he was gambling. I covered Tucapita Marcano, for a whole season. Great guy. You would never expect anything of him. The reality is the leagues, all of them, they want their cake and eat it too. They're all ruled by the almighty dollar. There is that disconnect, sure, but it's kind of like that. I don't know. The best way I can explain it is like you and all your friends are drag racing, and somebody gets caught, pulled over, speeding, and everybody else goes on because it's like, oh, well, we didn't get caught. The leagues kind of view it as, oh, we're going to get as much money as we possibly can, and if somebody breaks our rules, our laws, we point at them and shame them and say it's his fault. It's not our fault. He's the one who couldn't keep it all together. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. The
Yeah.
reality is that you're putting these guys in an impossible situation. And I remember with
Right.
Tucapita Marcano last year covering that, it's like, the league and the Pirates, they'd put things out like, oh, well, we have rules in every clubhouse articulating what is and what is not allowed to be gambled on, what players can and cannot do. It's like an 8 by 11 sheet of paper that's taped to the wall amongst like 24 other advertisements of like, here's when 2:30 p.m. stretches for pitchers. Here's when BP is. It's like, no way anybody's taking that seriously. We
Right.
know these players don't. They're operating like normal humans. So if you give them the latitude and say, hey, you can gamble on your phone, what's stopping a player from betting on Venezuelan baseball games or getting involved in poker games? Like,
Yeah.
I view it as a total double standard. That's at least my take on the matter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go.
Right.
Hey,
Now,
Marty, what you got? Something for Andrew?
oh, I got a bunch of stuff for Andrew.
right.
Like I said, I used to live in Seattle. I still
Mm.
have a lot of family, and my sister, who's a huge sports fan, is in Spokane.
Okay.
And so we'll get to the Mariners in a second. But I want to one of the things that intrigued me, and I want your take on it because you were right there. What the hell happened with Coach Franklin at LSU?
Oh,
That was unheard of. Yes, he's had a tough time. He lost some games he probably shouldn't have lost, especially when they came west to UCLA. But good God, you remember what the program was like before he showed up, and to
Yeah.
throwing away the baby with the bathwater. There had to be something more behind that. Tell me there was, please.
So the something more behind that is a disgruntled fan base that has been fed up with, in
Come
their.
on.
Oh, believe me, I am right there with you, and which is a polar. And I'm sure my dad's watching this, and if not, I'll catch to it. But I am one who, for many years, advocated for that Penn State should move on from Franklin as recently as 2020.
Oh,
And in 2021, I was covering the team as a senior in college, and it was at the time that Franklin was, courting other schools, exploring the opportunity to go elsewhere. USC was a school that he was really interested in, and he signed that massive extension that was handed out to him by Sandy Barber, the former athletic director. And I personally did not approve of it because I was like, well, what has he done for you? The program is trending downward. In 2020, they went 4-5. In 2021, they went 7-6. And then afterwards, it looked like, okay, they're gaining some steam. They won the Rose Bowl in 2022. They make the playoff last
Right.
year.
Yep.
I think what it really came down to is the fan base was worried this was dropping back into that negative spiral. And in the era of NIL, which we can certainly have a conversation about that if you guys would like.
That's on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in that era, James Franklin, what is his model? It's loyalty, it's recruiting, it's going into 17, 18-year-olds' homes and saying, hey, I'm going to take care of your son and get him an education and show him the right path and show him the right way.
He talks a good game. He really does.
And frankly, he upholds his end of the bargain on most of those
okay,
things.
Cool. Yeah.
Academically, these kids graduate. I was in classes with a number of them. They're well-to-do kids who mean well for the most part, keep out of trouble. That's no shill. That's nothing. There's nothing faulty about that. The problem is that model doesn't really work in the modern day when it comes to NIL. When it comes to, hey, how do you build a great program? You've got to buy a program. Look at what's happening at Miami. Look what's happening at Ohio State. That's not to say that these are, wrongful or spiteful or shameful programs. They're just they're playing the game. It's like the guy who shows up at the blackjack table in 21 and counts cards. He's not cheating. He's just playing the game really well. So Franklin wasn't playing that game.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was with some friends earlier today, and this weekend I'm going down to Las Vegas. I used to live there, and I never did it. I'm going to go see UNLV and New Mexico because I'd never been to the Allegiant Stadium. I heard it's pretty cool. There's a game on Sunday. I may get a cheap ticket just to check it out. But he pointed out exactly what you were saying. Where did UNLV come from? UNLV was always a loser program. Now they're just scoring points like crazy. And maybe I'm not sure how familiar you are with the teams in the WAC, but I live in Nevada and we have the Wolfpack, which is like junior varsity. But the point is, how did because UNLV doesn't have the resources. Did they just get lucky? And I'm not showing, but it's interesting now that it's all about money, and it's really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, and not just about money too. It's also like, who do you have in position? So like, I will give credit to UNLV where it's due. Dan Mullen is the head coach.
Yeah,
that guy was a heck of a head coach at Mississippi State with Dak Prescott as the quarterback. Was a good coach at Florida too. Before the kind of the college landscape changed a little bit. The SEC is so hard to win when you have expectations like you do at a place like Florida. But Mullen, it's like, yeah, if you have a coach like that, in my opinion at least, there's about a couple dozen coaches in college football that are really truly excellent offensive masterminds, guys who can put offenses in place that take you to the next level. I think if you have a guy like Mullen in a place like UNLV, you have an unbelievable step up on everybody else.
Yeah.
At some point, it's chess pieces, right? It's like, how can you? Why did Boise State have such a good program from all those years? Well, because they had Chris Peterson running the show.
Peterson,
it's not that. So yes, it's money. Yes, it's part of that. But the idea that it still matters who the coaches are, that to me is still huge. The deal is now that the equation is not so lopsided where like, again, I wasn't alive during this time period, but you go back to the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, where it's all about, okay, it's Barry Switzer at Oklahoma. It's Bo Schembechler at Michigan. It's, you go later on, 2000s, Jim Tressel at Ohio State, Joe Paterno. Like, these programs, it was about the coach, and then everything else was secondary.
Well,
and it's not the model anymore.
Even the Washington Huskies, they still glorify Don James.
Yep.
So, right. So he was... Anyway, I'm anybody else? I'm hogging the conversation here. I'm loving it.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, guys.
I got something for you, Andrew. I was talking to your dad, and I think when you're working as a sports writer, your job is to report what happens, not what you want to have happen. And he said, people would ask you, how are the Pirates going to be this year? And you were honest with them. They have no chance in hell of winning, which is not what the fans want to hear. We've spent time listening to the Pittsburgh Pirate broadcasters, and I understand they're supposed to be marketing the team and getting excited about a team that they deep down know is going to lose 90 games. Now you move out to Seattle and you get to cover a baseball team for the first time that has a chance to win. What was that like? What was the difference between the two?
For me, it was actually very funny because like I showed up there and one of my first games I covered, Rowdy Tellez was the first baseman for the Mariners. I'll start with the story here because to me I think this is a great launching point. But I'd covered Rowdy Tellez last year with the Pirates, which some of you may remember there were some viral moments there where he got booed by the fans and defended David Bednar, all these different things. But Rowdy Tellez sees me and he's like, "Wow, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I just follow you across the country." But no disrespect to Rowdy Tellez if he's listening, but I outlasted him in 2 cities. But
That's perfect. Perfect.
but at any rate, so seeing him there, it was kind of like this idea though, it's like you walk into the clubhouse and it's loose. It's everybody there's clear leadership. And that's not a disrespect to the Pirates. I think they actually are building something there with Paul Skeens. Like he is becoming the leader of that clubhouse. But it was just a different vibe of, the professionalism meets ease, and when they would lose, they would still meet together as a team and be around it. It was just a vibrant group of guys that took every win and appreciated it, but didn't get overzealous about it, and each loss wouldn't get too down. It was a really even keeled group that was always positive. That's the best way I can describe them. So, in terms of the coverage side of things for me, I don't know. I mean, I just found it to be, hey, I get to be here to cover a team. They're playing really well. This means a heck of a lot to the city. I'm grateful to be here. And oh, by the way, Cal Raleigh is going to have like the greatest year a catcher's ever had, or we can
Yeah.
compare it to a
Yeah.
Johnny Bench season. So
Right.
I'm really spoiled in that in the last few years of sports reporting for me. I think I don't appreciate this enough. Is that my first year covering hockey? I got to cover Sidney Crosby, and Evgeny Malkin and Crystal Tang. Next year, I get to cover Eric Carlson, who was somebody I grew up watching, and as a Sharks fan, like that was really cool for me to write when he signed with them and or got traded, but over to them. With the Pirates, I got to cover Paul Skeens make his first career MLB start. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a few box scores taped to the wall, and
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Very
cool. Very cool.
one
Yeah.
of those that's from Skeens' first career start, and like I will, some of those first Mariners game I've covered, things like that, but I'm really spoiled in a lot of the different things that I've gotten to cover, the athletes that I've gotten to cover. So when it comes down to this Mariners season, I kind of have to, sit there and remind myself, hey, I got to watch Cal Raleigh hit like 30 some odd of his home runs, and wow, what a city to get to do it in. So the long and short of it, Rob, it was great in Pittsburgh too. It's great in Seattle too. There's beauty and ugliness in covering both a winning team and a losing team, but it's never, I'll put it this way. I say this to all my friends and family members too. My life is never boring. I can assure you that much.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Robbie, you got something?
Yeah, I'm curious to know. I mean, you interview a lot of different people. I mean, it's part of the job, obviously. Have you ever interviewed somebody that you expected very little from, and then you got like completely blown away and fascinated, and then maybe another guy that you thought you were going to get a great interview out of, and it was like, what the hell am I spending my time here for?
Yeah, actually, there's one story that comes to mind immediately as we kind of recollect the pirate stories. So Andrew McCutcheon was always a really good interview for me.
Oh, cool.
Always a really good guy. He's a good interview to anybody. That's nothing
Right.
specific to me. Side note, you'll probably learn this. Ego wise, I really don't have much an ego about sports reporting. For me, it's like I am just the writer behind the keyboard. I'm grateful that I get to talk to these guys. I frankly dislike a lot of the people who make it about themselves. I call them peacock journalists. Like I am so old school with I'm so old school with this stuff, which is, I'm here to make others happy and to write stories and be flamboyant with my words. But anyway, with Andrew McCutcheon, so that would have been last year. God, when would that have been? June or July? Do you guys remember when the Brickwood game was? Was that July or August? Maybe July?
August. That was August. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously right before that, Willie Mays passes away. And I get, I have all the Giants beat reporters on push notification on Twitter, like any Bay Area fan who grew up liking the Giants and the A's. Like I've got my John Shays and Susan Slussers and all these people on push.
Right.
And I see that Willie Mays has passed. And I go down to the clubhouse and I go up to Andrew McCutcheon, knowing that he had played the season in San Francisco. And I say, "Hey, Cutch, um, did you hear that Willie passed?" And he goes, "No, I hadn't." So I'd broken the news to Andrew McCutcheon that, in my opinion, one of, if not the greatest center fielders of all time had passed away. Somebody who then Andrew McCutcheon spent the next 10 to 15 minutes sharing detail by detail stories that he had of, going into a room. I didn't know that this was a thing at Oracle Park. I still think of it as AT&T Park, but besides the point. At Oracle Park, there's a room right next to the clubhouse where Willie Mays and Barry Bonds and Will Clark would just sit there and talk hitting with anybody who wanted to come in. And so
Wow.
McCutcheon would go in there and it'd be the four of them, like talk about, the Mount Rushmore of hitters when it comes to like Giants history, right? Like these guys are right up there, Willie McCovey was in there when he was, still around. And I just found that story to be fascinating where I was literally going up to Andrew McCutcheon just to like, "Hey, not sure if you heard." And sure enough, I turned that around and make it into a full-blown story that I was absurdly appreciative and grateful for. So that would be one that certainly comes to mind if I was not expecting a whole lot, and that ended up being something absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the flip side, there's not really one that comes to mind. I would say that maybe when Paul Skeens was drafted, like I was expecting a little bit more of like, hey, like he'll, have this huge press conference, but then you get to learn and know the guy, and it's like, oh, he is so anything but about himself. It's all
Right.
about the team, and he's not here to be, the rah rah me guy. Like that's not him. So
Right.
Yeah, cool.
Because
Yeah.
I always think of watching the guys interview Bruce Bochy, and he's fascinating and interesting for 20 minutes, and then you walk away going, "Wait, he didn't say anything."
Nope.
He had that low drawl, and all shucks, guys, and that whole thing. And yeah, he'd talk for 20 minutes, but nothing of substance was said whatsoever.
Yeah, he was a fun one actually to talk to back in when were the Rangers in town? That was like July or August, and that was one where I had to sneak the phone, like, kind of underneath my take a photo, send it to my dad and brother, and be like, "Hey, guess who I got to talk to today?" There's moments like that all throughout the year. It was like that. I mean, when last year, I'll share this story too. I could do stories all day long, but um, I've got this right here, from the final Oakland A's game last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went to
Very
that.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah, went
Yeah.
to that with my brother and my childhood best friend. But I covered the previous two games of the series. Like I asked the Post Gazette if, hey, do you guys mind if I fly out there and cover these games and just go as a fan because like I can't miss these. Um, and went out there and hearing Mark Kotsay talk pregame about the Oakland A's and talking about talking to all these different guys, meeting Ken Korak, like, oh my god, like I could just go on and on and on about how special, how much those moments meant to me and to my childhood, and just so special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How hard is it
Hey,
to
Marty,
separate?
you're up.
Wait, one more quick follow-up. Obviously,
Sure,
you're a
sure.
fan. How hard is it to separate that? I mean, there's got to be times when you're talking to somebody going, "Oh my God, I'm talking to Ferguson Jenkins or whatever," and you're just like, "How do I focus? How do I focus? How do I focus?"
Yeah, for me, it was a skill that I kind of learned over time of being able to like recognize that, I would say that I have the same level of anxiety talking to you guys as I do Paul Skeens or a
Of course.
manager.
Of
Yeah,
course.
but,
Yeah.
yeah, we have
Well-
112 episodes for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I say that in the way of, at the end of the day, I think what makes, life and the profession and what I enjoy about it so beautiful is at the end of the day, we're all just people, And so like that's what kind of separates it for me is that I understand, you know, the beautiful thing about being a reporter is once you get on that side, it's both beautiful and I guess a little saddening is that you realize that like it is just regular life that when you walk into a locker room, hey, somebody's dealing with a bum knee the same way that I might be dealing with a bum knee because I injured it going on a run yesterday. Now is it a hell of a lot less exciting that I hurt my knee running versus Julio Rodriguez injuring it crashing into the wall? Oh my god, not even close. But what allows me to separate it is recognizing that they're just humans. It's cliche as heck, but it's they get dressed the same way as you and I do in the morning. They drink their coffee, they drink their tea, they read books, they watch movies. Like it's not like, I guess something that helps a lot is that when a ball player is away from the field, it's not like the old days where it's just like, oh, they'd party all night, Mickey Mantle style, and then like pass out. It's like,
Right.
oh no, like they pass their time the same way that you and I do. They've got their hobbies, they've got their quirks, they take naps. It's not. So I think that's something that really helps put it in perspective.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Now, I get this. And how long have you been in Seattle?
About 6 months now. I moved out here
Okay.
beginning of April.
Okay. All right. Because I knew that, but that was a loaded question. Because here it comes. Seattle. I always found Seattle rather unique in the fact that the fans have a chip on their shoulder.
Yep.
And and I'm not sure that I thought they were owed something or they want answers. So my question is twofold. First is, it was a hell of a season for the Mariners. Whom is the scapegoat for not getting to the World Series? Is it Wilson, the manager? Now, come on.
Probably.
See, this is
Yeah.
Seattle. I know these people. They want answers. They want,
Yeah.
so
I would say probably. And that's no disrespect to Dan Wilson, but I was covering Monday Night Football during Game 7, which my dad actually was at the game as well, had come out to see me, which is pretty cool. But watching Game 7, all of us reporters in the press box, the select few of us who didn't go to Toronto, because I'm based now basically solely here in Seattle versus my previous job where I was traveling all across the country. But what I kind of thought during the moment was when Brian Wu got lifted for Eduardo Bizzardo, the whole time I was just thinking,
yeah.
why are you not going to Matt Brash or why are you not going to Andres Munoz? That was what I was thinking.
Mhm.
And I wasn't the only one. The other reporters were thinking the same thing. And,
Okay.
I was not expecting George Springer to hit one out of the park, but like
Right.
the problem is all the stats were I said this then, I'll say it now again. I'm sounding like a broken record, but in 2016, the Cleveland Guardians, then by their previous name, they used Andrew Miller in like the fifth inning of games when it was the highest leverage moment. I am such a believer in untraditional relieving, untraditional bullpens where, hey, this is what we think is the biggest moment in the game. Put that reliever in there and go make sure this is a 1-run game or make sure it stays a 2-run game. That was the moment. I understand traditional managing. I don't believe in it. I believe in if this is the biggest spot, which that clearly was, go to your best guy. And Andres Munoz hadn't given up a home run since June to like Michael A.
Right.
Taylor of the White Sox. So I don't want to blame Bizzardo. He pitched 2 innings the day before. He was really
Right.
good for them all year long.
Yeah.
I'll pin blame a little bit on Dan Wilson, but also recognize that the culture that he put forth there, it allowed the team to get there. He did a fine job as a manager. That being said, I would have managed Game 7, and I would have managed that series a little bit differently. Again, hindsight being 2020, but like
Right.
that's how
Like I
I
said,
view it.
and I guess that's the culture of Seattle. Are they going to lose the corners with Naylor and Suarez?
I would imagine they will retain Naylor. I think Suarez moves on because
Okay.
what you've got there, um, what you've got there is Ben Williamson, who I'm a big fan of. I think he's a defensive wizard, and he actually grew up in the same neighborhood as one of my old college roommates, so he's very close with the family, which I enjoy. Shout out to the Joe Skinner family. But Ben Williamson is like a Gold Glove defensive winning third baseman in the making. Suarez is going to cost a lot of money, and um, as good as he was this year hitting home runs, a lot of that I do think was Chase Field benefactor.
Yeah.
So I think you move off Suarez, but what Josh Naylor means to this team and this short stretch that he was there. I mean, I asked Dan Wilson about this last week at like an end of year media scrum, asking him about like how much do you need guys like that to get back here in 2026. He's like, oh yeah, like we need guys like him. He was a leader in the clubhouse. He brings a fierceness, a passion, and energy. It's unrelenting. He's a great teammate, and it's not just the cliche words. Like this is the guy. He has no business stealing 30 bases a year, but he milks every ounce of his ability on the field, leaves it all out there. And how can you not like playing with guys like that who, oh, by the way, are on the right side of 30 and you could sign to a 5-year, $100 million deal and solve your first base issues for the foreseeable future, knock on wood. I think they retain Naylor. I think they move off Suarez. And I think that does well for the Mariners, especially if they want to add like a corner outfield bat.
Okay, real quick. I got one more guy, but it takes a little bit of a story. I'm here in Reno, and I retired last year, so I'm now an usher and security at the AAA ballpark, the Reno Aces, who support the Diamondbacks. So I love baseball, so I'm having a great time. I referenced my sister earlier, who's a huge Mariners fan, and all of a sudden I get an email out of nowhere says, "Who are these two guys, Bliss and Canzone?"
Mm.
And so because there was a trade between the Mariners and the Diamondbacks, and was there a pitcher involved? Anyway, my question is Dominic Canzone. He was always one of my favorites with the Aces. He didn't fare so well in the playoffs when he was there. What's your quick impression? I think he's gonna. Hopefully, he'll give him the time to mature and be a great ball player. I think he's got potential.
I thought he had a great second half, frankly, especially after the second call up. I mean, high average guy. I do enjoy how he leans into the Italian heritage at the games. That's very entertaining. I think he could be a very good, at worst case scenario, good fourth outfielder for them. I personally would have been playing him over Victor Robles every game in the playoffs, or the postseason, excuse me. Don't want to sound like a non-baseball person. But yeah, I mean, I think he's got plenty of potential. I think he's a high contact guy. If he's going to hit 300 every year, I think that's a high expectation, but he's going to be a solid. Like, I could see him, to throw a comp out there, he could be like a Ryan Sweeney type, high average, not necessarily a ton of power, but sprays the ball to all fields, plays adequate defense. I think that could be him. And you need guys like that. I don't know that he's going to get $30 million a year, but he'll be a good ball player for these guys.
Good. Thanks.
Good.
All right. Cool.
Hey, let's talk about our sponsor, Robbie.
All right.
What a great time. Hey, Almanac Brewing, what is it, 111 shows? 110? I don't know why.
112. 112.
112. 112. Can you believe that this crappy thing has gone on for 112 episodes, Andrew? Wow.
We got potential, though. We got potential.
Cheers to you guys.
And through 112 episodes, this car crash has been sponsored by Almanac Brewing in Alameda, California. Almanac is one of America's leading craft brewers. They're amazing. We probably should have sent you some in advance, but Weber screwed that up. So whatever.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah,
it's quite all right. I got to go to the gym after this anyway. That's how we got the smart water.
Well, we all take a moment at this point in the show and talk about the different beers we're drinking. You guys probably that are watching live could say it at home with me. I'm drinking the Rocktoberfest because it's that time of year, and I'm just loving this beer. It's delicious, flavorful, and still easy to drink. What are you guys drinking?
Well, I'm gonna echo your sentiments. That's why I got this one too. And like I said, it's the last show in October, so I figured that was appropriate. Plus, this is just what can I say? Almanac does it. It's a damn good beer. It's nice, rich color. You think you got a big malt flavor. It's there, but it goes down easy. It's easy to drink, and damn, I'm hooked. I mean, they got me.
Buy it now. They're almost out.
Yes.
Well, if I'd have known that Andrew was wearing an Oakland Ballers hat tonight, I would have had Almanac's Ballers IPA, named after the Oakland Ballers. But instead, I'm drinking the Hugs Hefeweizen. Really liking this, nice and smooth. Can have multiple servings of this, because who could stop at one? So I'm going with the Hugs.
Secret to our success.
Hey, before we sign off for Almanac, we do have a What You Drinking call. These are my favorite.
Hey, Lowlifes, what you drinking? Well, I'm having a Almanac Hugs Hefeweizen. Great on this reasonably warm day in Elk Grove, California. Have a good show, boys. My condolences to Mr. Destin and his Seattle Mariners. I was really rooting for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks again, Almanac. Make a trip to the brewery if you're in the Bay Area or living here, visiting, whatever. get out to Alameda Beer Company. They call it the Adventureland. They're kid friendly, pet friendly. They've got games and roadhouse tables and great food and the friendly people that will taste you on the different kind of beers that they make. They'll walk you. If somebody's available, you can do a quick tour of the facility. Just outstanding people and better beer. So Almanac Brewing, visit the brewery, tell them you heard about them from the Highlights from Lowlife show, and they may take pity upon you.
All right. Good job, Robbie.
Thank you.
All right, Andrew, I'm going to dive right back in and I'm switching gears. Let's talk hockey.
Let's do it.
So,
All right.
Go
so
Thunderbirds.
you're in Pittsburgh. You've got the Penguins, this franchise that has been a pinnacle franchise for years and years and years. You grew up a Sharks fan, I assume.
Oh yeah, big time.
Now you're out in Seattle. You've got the Kraken, which, by the way, if I were in Seattle, I'd be going to Kraken games left and right. Marty has changed his shirt for the occasion.
What do you think? What do you think? The
Kraken.
people are blind. You have to do it.
So as a hockey fan, this is a two-part question. Tell us what you think about the Kraken and how they've built this expansion team and how they compete. And then I want to know what your opinion is of the Sharks rebuild. What do they got going there? My personal impression is they're going to be lights out in about 3 or 4 years, but
Yep.
I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Let's start with the Kraken first, just because I didn't cover the game yesterday, but I will be back there on Monday. Monday when they do play against. I was curious if this is your team or that's just from your youth, the Chicago Blackhawks.
Go Hawks!
There we go. So the Kraken are interesting. They have been impatient with their rebuild. They have frequently sought out, changing new coaches. So last year they went to Dan Bilesma, former Penguins coach, who won a cup with them back in '09, I believe. That was kind of a 1 year, one hit wonder, moving off of him. Lane Lambert, I really like as a head coach. I think he's excellent for the Kraken. I thought he was really good with the Islanders, and they moved on from him and bringing in Patrick Waugh a little bit too early. No disrespect to Patrick Waugh, obviously a legendary goalie in his own right, but I think what the Kraken are doing right is they have been aggressive in free agency and getting guys like Brandon Montour who are solid to star level players and having a balanced roster. This is not a flashy roster. Yes, Joey Decord is solid. Yes, Jordan Eberle is solid. Yes, Jared McCann is solid. None of these guys are 50-goal scorers. None of them are Vezina winning goalies, anything like that. Nobody's going to be, no one's going to be lighting the lamp that way. But I think what they've done is built a balanced roster, which is in stark contrast to what I witnessed when I was in Pittsburgh, because there with the Penguins, as great as a run as that franchise had for many years, for decades, with the big three and even the big four, if you wanted to include Marc-Andre Fleury in there for a little bit. I think what you saw with that team, what you saw was that, shoot, yeah, the Penguins were not a balanced roster. They were a little bit too saturated with the star power that was aging. And because of that, they were hamstrung in a salary cap league like the NHL. So I think the Kraken, the 5-2-3 start, yes, it's a good start. I don't know that it's necessarily sustainable, but what I do think it shows is that this is a team that can compete in the Pacific. This is a team that is further along in its rebuild than the Sharks are, because they did, get lucky with some things, like getting Jared McCann, for instance, from the Penguins during the expansion draft turned out to be a shrewd move. I mean, that was a guy who was for a period of time a 40-goal scorer. So I think that the Kraken are in a solid spot. Pivoting now to the Sharks, who I was there for one of the last playoff games at SAP Center because it's been a while, and that was when I was a freshman in college. I think the rebuild is going to work out. I really do. I think that net you've got a solid guy. I think with Celebrini, with Smith, that's a dynamic punch. I like Eklund. I believe in the roster. I believe in Warsofsky as a coach. I think he was an excellent hire. I understood moving on. I think the vision that Mike Greer has for the franchise is the right one. That being said, I was expecting the team to be a little bit stronger out the gate this year. I mean, especially with the momentum they had last year riding it. I remember going to a game in January with some of my childhood friends. I was out for the holidays and I went to a Sharks Devils game in which, the Sharks looked great. Celebrini had a goal on a 3-on-2, and you're thinking, like, okay, when this place is bumping like this, like, I remember what this was like as a kid. They can do this again. This
Yeah,
can happen.
yeah,
So I think I disagree with you, Robin, that I don't know if it's 3 to 4 years away, but I would say it's 2 years away. I would say that
Okay.
they're
good,
going to,
good.
they're going to get there. I think Warsofsky is the right coach. At least he deserves another year. The issue, what could stagnate the timeline, is say he ends up not proving himself to be the right coach. Say Celebrini, God forbid, has a season-ending injury. If Smith falls back, like if
Yeah.
something happens like that, if some of these prospects don't pan out the way that you think it could, then sure, there's the setback there. But I think they're a couple years away, especially in my opinion. I look around the rest of the Pacific. I think the Kings are bound to fall. I think this Ducks rebuild is really kind of a smorgasbord. I don't really know what they're doing over there. It's hard for me to keep tabs of. Like I think that they're in the right direction, but not entirely sure of. So long and short of it, I think the Sharks are going to be okay. But man, oh man, has this rebuild taken a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing I noticed is the defense isn't up to snuff right now.
No,
Other teams can just run right over them. It's not the goaltending. I'm
no,
talking about the defensemen. So
And
it's
that was their forte in the last half of the last season because I like the Knights. They were the expansion team when I was in Vegas. But it was always tough scoring goals against the Sharks in the latter half of last year. And so that was kind of disappointing to see that too, as Sharks come out of the gate. So
yeah,
yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Hey, Robbie, you got something?
Yeah, I'm going to harken back to Marty's thing about the playoff scapegoat. Did they spend? I don't know if you weren't there. I don't think for spring training, and I can only assume that the Mariners did not spend a lot of time talking about how to get hit by a pitch with the bases loaded and the game on the line.
Not particularly, no.
I feel like a really well-rounded ball club would come up with a strategy for that. Did that? Was there some blowback on that, or did that just kind of pass?
No, I think that would just kind of pass. I
Okay.
mean, don't get me wrong, fun conversation topic, especially for this esteemed pod. But don't get me wrong, it's no,
esteemed.
yeah,
Ooh.
I'll give credit where it's due. No, but
All right.
yeah, nothing there by way of the wrong strategy or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about. We mentioned the Blackhawks. Let's talk about those other Hawks. The Seahawks. In a division in the West that seems to be wide open. Boy. Why the boo?
Oh, the Seahawks. Come on.
Oh.
We're not.
The division's wide open. Boy, God, what about it? Tell me I'm wrong. Well, what about a Jekyll and Hyde team? So they got they're the primetime game Sunday night in Washington. Washington was a little disappointing in their game on Monday night. So these guys should be prime for picking. What's your opinion of the Seahawks? What's going on?
So they're a very good team. I'm surprised in a little bit. Not let me actually I'll retract that. I'm pleasantly surprised for their sake because I was expecting them to be a solid team, not spectacular. I don't think they're a spectacular team, but I think this is almost assuredly a playoff team, just given the direction they're headed in at 5-2, and seemingly the schedule is not going to be so difficult down the stretch. And they are playing better at home than they did last year, where last year they went, I believe, 3-6 at home. So I look at it as with the Seahawks, they have a ton going for them in terms of Sam Darnold has played really well.
Yep.
The run game is starting to come along. They've protected the quarterback really well. Last year, I think the Seahawks Geno Smith was the third most sacked quarterback in the NFL. This
Wow.
year, Sam Darnold's been sacked 8 times in 7 games. That's a fantastic difference considering last year, Geno Smith was sacked 54 times. So the offensive line play tremendously improved. The defense for the Seahawks run defense is one of the best in the league, if not the best. Guys like Leonard Williams, the third, really impressive up the middle. Jaron Reed, Byron Murphy, the second is excellent. That guy has proven every ounce of the first round draft pick they used on him out of Washington. I think the defensive line for the Seahawks is as good, if not the best in the NFL. That being said, the secondary, as good as it is with guys like Devin Witherspoon, it's banged up. It's been banged up all season. Julian Love is hurt. He's probably going to miss the game on Sunday. They really miss him when he's not healthy. Nick Emenwari, the second round draft pick, he's been in and out of the lineup with injuries. The list goes on in terms of guys in the secondary who have been shuffling in and out of the lineup. So I bring all that up to say that the Seahawks have been very impressive this year. Their bye week couldn't have come at a better time, and they should be grateful that Jaden Daniels is not suiting up for the Commanders on Sunday, because if he was, he would have a field day with this Seahawks secondary.
Oh,
so I think Seattle's going to win this game. I think they will. It's going to be tough. I mean, there's a reason the spread is what it is. I think it's 3.5 points. I think the Seahawks go on the road to Washington and they will win that game. It's just not going to be easy.
Yeah, and the Rams are kind of been disappointing. The 49ers are all beat up, and the Cardinals are a little bit underachieving so far. So this division is wide open.
Yeah.
So I think anybody that gets hot in the last part of the season, and they're maybe the exception of some of the teams in the AFC, there really isn't a standout team in the NFC. Detroit's got a couple of hits. Green Bay's got a couple of hits. There really isn't anybody that's really running the table right now. So, with a little luck in the playoffs, they could go somewhere. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the NFC, I would be lying if I said that I've been following the rest of the league nearly as closely as I'd like to, because when you are in this role with the AP, something that's a little different is that I would say that I'm less of an expert of one. It's more kind of like I'm following everything simultaneously. So it keeps me engaged and keeps it exciting that when I go to different events, it's like, oh, I get to cover hockey tonight. I'm covering football tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm not as, I talk about this with my dad sometimes. I'm not as ingratiated in the minutia as I was with when I was covering baseball, where it's like, oh yeah, I know the entire Pirates farm system and I can list their top 30 prospects on MLB Pipeline like the back of my hand. Like, I can tell you about Jackson Wolf, the lefty, instantly. And any fan who's not a Padres or Pirates fan would be like, why do I need to hear about an 88-mile-an-hour throwing lefty? But neither here nor there. I think that what we're looking at with the Seahawks is this is a team that is competitive. They are going to stay competitive. They are going to be one that competes in the NFC West. And really, it's a matter of, I think the division is going to come down between them and the Niners. And with the Niners, it's just a matter of, can they stave off enough of these injuries to remain competitive? If they can do that, man, oh man, if they can just wait till Purdy comes back, if they can wait till these guys, like, as they get more guys back, I think that's going to be more beneficial than what's with the Seahawks. They've got the depth. They just don't have nearly the star power the Niners do. But I feel like we all kind of know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. Hey, guys, he is definitely overqualified. He's putting us to shame. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Andrew, it's a pleasure. It really is. Thanks.
Yeah, we haven't had a show this intelligent since episode 55.
Yeah, when Taylor Swift canceled at the last moment, but we had we were this close.
Yes, yes.
I was going to say, you're talking to the guy who, how will I spend the rest of my evening? I'll go to the gym, I will read the New York Times, and I will read Keith Richards' autobiography before I go to bed. So
Perfect.
Spoiler alert, there's a lot of drugs and drinking.
Yeah.
We're 3 chapters in, we're learning that. I think my favorite quote from Keith so far is that he gets to a point where he's like, and this was the stage of my life where I no longer went to sleep.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Hey, tell us a little bit about the difference between living in Pittsburgh and living in Seattle. Both cities are great.
Yes,
but they're very different. So tell us the pros and cons of each.
Wow. I can speak both personally, or I can speak citywide, like generally about the city itself. I guess.
No, I want your experience.
Okay. All right.
Through the eyes of a journalist.
There we go.
Yeah, that's
right. This is fun. So when I was living in Pittsburgh, I had it really good, and in some ways it was kind of like I was always go, go, go. So it was cool for me because I was close to Penn State. I was only a 2.5 hour drive away from where I went to college. Um, I could have a direct flight back to the Bay Area in like 5 hours, which was pretty good for me, manageable. Um, and it was cool because I was traveling across the country. But as good of a city as Pittsburgh was, I never felt like I really got to know it as well as I would have liked in my 2.5 years there because, you know, in some ways I knew New York City better. I knew Washington, D.C. better. I knew Chicago better than Pittsburgh because I had traveled to these places for work and I had really enjoyed them for what they were. So Pittsburgh was good for me. I liked the restaurant scene. I enjoyed the bar scene that was close to my house that I used to live in. Really appreciated the friendships that I had. It was great. I really had a good time there. My runs, my bike rides, the gym was great. All that was fun. In Seattle, my life has taken a very significant turn in that I now have time to do these things that have always been, I don't want to say just passion projects of mine, but things that I've always been passionate about, whether that's like I'm a big fitness person, so I'm training to do a triathlon next year.
Oh wow.
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
bu- I bike, I swim, I run. So not to boast or anything, but I ran 10 miles yesterday. I went to a yoga class. I wrote a story. Um, today I biked. I'll go to the gym. I'm really big into meal prep, making my own food. So
He's making me tired just listening to him.
I have a way of doing
Well,
that. Yeah.
and you can do all this because your job in Seattle does not require travel, right?
Correct. Which, as much as I
Mhm.
enjoyed the travel, it took away from me being able to get into hobbies like film photography, which is something I really enjoy. Or, now I'm in a spot where I can connect with friends and, hey, I have a friend that I played high school basketball with who we now play basketball once or twice a week together on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. And I can set up weekends and go for walks in the park and do these things that, like, any person should do. I shouldn't just be so exhausted that I pass out on every plane flight I ever take. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. So totally
And
different lifestyle. I wouldn't trade my Pittsburgh experience for anything. I'm grateful to be where my feet are, and I think that it's great to be where I am right now.
But you can't get anywhere because the traffic sucks in
That
Seattle.
is true. That's
well,
that's why
well,
I bike.
where do you live?
I live
In
in
downtown?
no, a little bit off. I live in a neighborhood called Magnolia.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Got
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
it.
So, and funny enough, Rob, you'll appreciate this. I live with a Lynbrook High School baseball teammate of mine.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. So, buddy of mine who works at Amazon. Thankfully, he's safe. Did not get laid off.
Good.
So he's got a house out here. I moved in with him back in April, and it's been very good for us. So,
Excellent. Excellent.
Excellent.
All right.
Okay.
So I got
Hey,
one more question. I'll make it quick.
go for it.
please.
We talked about Vegas and gambling. I'm less concerned about the gambling piece with this, but so far there's been two ways to go in Vegas. The Golden Knights who've gone in and committed to the team, committed to the franchise and the fans, and really are trying to build something. And then you've got the Raiders who who cares? We'll sell out. The other team will bring 50,000 people to our stadium. Where do you see the A's falling in that? I'm very worried that the A's are going to go there and John Fisher is going to pull the Raiders tactic of we don't have to invest in the team. We're going to sell out anyway. Because in March, who wants to stay in Cincinnati if the Reds are going to Vegas? We'll go to Vegas and watch them.
Right.
Well, that's the thing is so. I mean, I think back to Dave Cavill, the former president of the A's. His quote was always that 30% of our fans in Las Vegas. I think that I have that number right. Was he was expecting 30% of all fans for all 81 home games to be from other cities. Um, and I always found that to be very frustrating because I was like, how can you have no interest in wanting to establish what you have there? But the Golden Knights did so well, and I remember I actually applied to a job to cover the Golden Knights with the Las Vegas Review Journal, which unfortunately didn't land. But everything in life happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
But so with the Review Journal, what they talked about was how passionate the fan base was about the Golden Knights. Because to your point, they invested in the community. They have a rink in Henderson, I believe it is,
Right.
where uh, free access for everybody. Like that, anybody can go there and skate pretty much any time. And it's like, wow, talk about wanting to create a good footprint in the community. You make it accessible in that regard. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and badmouth John Fisher. I promise you I'm not going to do that. I promise you.
But if
I
you
will.
could.
But if I,
I will.
I promise you, I will not.
Yes. Go Ballers.
On that note, I just absolutely, I'm a little apprehensive about believing that they're going to invest in the city of Las Vegas in the way that they tangibly need to get that kind of fan base, to get that kind of community buy-in. Because we didn't see it happen in Oakland when you had so many previous ownership groups. Well, not so many previous ownership groups. I should back off on that. You had a family in the Haas family who did invest in the Oakland community in that way. And when it did do that, guess what? The fan base reciprocated it. It showed out in droves and it loved the team.
Well,
I don't know. It's tough.
I do, and I can give you the answer right now. And it's the key factor is the location of the new stadium.
Yeah.
It's right there at the big corner where all the casinos are. And if you ask any local, they will not go down there unless they have to.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was there for about 5 or 6 years. I lived in Summerlin, which is the ballpark of where the AAA team is, and that's a nice, real nice ballpark. And you don't go down there unless you got friends or family that came to town and you want to see them. And so that says more to me than anything else. And I think your 30% figure is a little low because I'm sure they're booking a little more, about 40-45%.
Yeah.
And that's why the Fisher is still the well, you can't say anything positive. Don't say anything at all. I'm done.
Well, that's new for you.
Hey, Robbie, it looks like our friend Teddy Bear has sent in a couple of comments for Andrew.
He's got a question here for Andrew.
Hey, Andrew, Teddy Bear here. While you were back east writing for the Pirates and the Nittany Lions and all the other East Coast places you did you notice that the East Coast bias, like we see it out here on the West Coast, that they just don't give us enough credit for our good teams that we have out here? I know we start late for them and they have to stay up late to see the players perform, but it just seems like they don't give us much respect out here in the West Coast.
All right. What do you think, Andrew? Are you people on the East Coast? Are you biased about our West Coasters?
Totally valid, because I remember.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, so I bring this up because when I was a freshman at Penn State, I thought it was really cool for the first few weeks of school where I was like, oh my God, I'm done with my homework. I'm done with hanging out with friends. It's 10 o'clock at night. I can throw on the Giants game. This is great. I can throw on the A's game. And then I'd like fall asleep during the fourth inning and be like, oh shit, I missed it. And I'd do that so often. And eventually guilty as charged, I fell into the habit. And also, when you become a sports reporter, this is the little thing they don't teach you in school. Some people tell you, some don't, but you do kind of, I'm not somebody who watches a ton of sports in my free time. I certainly read it, but it's not like I can just sit on the couch and watch 8 hours of football by myself. That never has really worked for me after I graduated college, because it's kind of like, oh, well, there's a whole world out there. I love reading about it. I love going to games, but watching it on TV, kind of lose it a little bit. I bring that back to the East Coast bias. It's kind of like, well, a lot of people, I feel bad for like the Toronto fans who were watching Game 3, and it's like it goes until 2 in the morning. It's like, yeah, they're staying up. They're staying up because they're watching their team. But like, there's so many people in New York and Philadelphia and Boston who they're not staying up until 2 to watch the end of the game. So I get it. I totally get it. So it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Teddy Bear's got a follow up too.
By the way, Andrew, I'm lucky enough to play golf with your dad occasionally when he heads up and plays with the Bernie boys. Good man he is.
So Brent, Teddy Bear is one of our co-hosts on here from time to time, and he also is one of our senior baseball players. So he's up in the Sacramento area. Hey, Andrew, isn't Rowdy Tellez from the Sacramento Elk Grove area?
That'd be correct. Yeah.
Ah, that's what I thought. Okay.
I wrote a fun story about him, actually. If you guys want to give this one a Google, I bring up the Rowdy Tellez story because him and I have a history. But Rowdy Tellez and J.D. Davis in high school. They were high school baseball teammates. They were also members of the Future Farmers of America Club together in high school, the FFA. I may or may not have written a story about that last year for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, so feel free to give that one a read. I had way too much fun with that.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Were they wearing those beautiful blue jackets? Everybody gets those, you know.
Well,
They're incredibly sexy.
you know, I guess we'll never know because, truth be told, I don't think there was any photo evidence of that club.
Oh,
Ah.
that's too bad. That's too bad.
But yeah.
Hey, thank you very much for joining us. We had a great time. It moved up the level of the show a bit. You know, it's tough with Marty on the show, but we were able to
Oh,
lift up
give
the
me a
level
guy. No,
of the show.
Andrew, you were terrific. Thank you. Can we have you back again? I got 3 or 4 other things that we didn't get to that I really wanted to. You were terrific. Thank you very much. And you know, have a good time in the traffic jams in Seattle. So.
Oh yeah. Guys, I would love to do this anytime. I've known Rob for a long, long time through my dad, and you know, I consider myself grateful that I can hop on a show with you guys just to catch up. It certainly is. The pleasure is all mine. I know you guys joke and chide, but this is great. I really enjoy this. So
yeah, I really enjoyed talking with you. And I mean, considering you came from your dad, it's refreshing.
Jeez. Hey,
Well
we
done.
want to get it back. Watch what you're saying. We want it back.
Well done. Well done.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks everybody for joining us. And this show will get posted up on YouTube in a day or two, and you can watch the full episode. And tune in next week on micdup. We're going to have another guest. Tom Wartenberg will be here. And what do you got there, Robbie?
Well, let's just hype the show real quick. Tom Wartenberg, Hollywood movie producer, Oscar winner, will be on talking about sports and film.
That's right. He is.
Really interesting. And
Yeah,
I was just going to remind everybody, Almanac Brewing, Alameda, California, outstanding.
Yes. All right, Robbie, play us out.
Thanks, Andrew.
Highlights
Thanks, Andrew.
from Lowlifes.
Thanks, guys.